Welcome, folks, to the first Frostgrave game of the week, and this will be a solo game. Here in front of you, we have the table set up. It is about two feet by almost 3 feet in length, so it's not a very big table. You can see some of the ruins there. There's that big mammoth skeleton. If we go to the back, behind the mammoth, you will see a little gnoll creature hiding there. Okay, you could just barely see the top of his head. Haven't painted him yet, but there are a few gnolls here on the table. You can see another pair of gnolls there. They have already spawned. They are on their spawn points, and here is a skeleton, an armored skeleton. Alright, so what you need to play solo or any cooperatively or versus, any style of play you choose, you will need miniatures. You will need miniatures for your warband, and you will need a handful of miniatures to represent the monsters of Frostgrave. And I have a few that I've collected just for this game, and that's going to serve as my encounters. Now I also have my little index cards that I use to keep track of all my monster stats, the different phases to the game. Okay, we're going to go over that in a second. The spell cards, these you print out from the core rulebook and then you print them out. And I have all the stats of my warband and everything else on index cards. You will need a 20-sided dice like this one, and I use different colors just to differentiate between monster rolls and character rolls. Some kind of measuring device. I use these sticks because they're a lot easier to measure with. I have a 6-inch one and a 12-inch one, or you could use a tape measure if you don't have sticks, but I mean, they're so easy to cut and use in the game. I also have this handy dandy little stick thing that I made, and that is to measure in crowded areas. So this becomes very useful to measure my movement, and it is a 6-inch length movement stick. All right, and also you will need, I am using the Perilous Dark rulebook for solo play. All the rules you need for solo play and cooperative play are in this book, and I do have a copy of the core book right down here underneath the table setup. Okay, and I built this elevated table so that with a little console here, so that I can better organize my games. All right, so let's go on to the board itself. We have a spawn point right here, and I'm using these little poker chips as spawn points, and I wrote a number with washable markers, and this is 3 to 4, and that corresponds to the roll of a 6-sided dice. That will tell me where monsters are going to spawn. And there's another spawn point right there where that skeleton is. And there's a spawn point right there where those 2 gnolls are. And then we have right where that archer gnoll is. You can see him right there. We have a spawn point right there. You can kind of barely see the spawn point. Now next to them are those blue gems, and I use those as treasure markers. I am using 3 treasure markers for this game. There's another treasure marker. There's one up there. And I believe that is it. Yes, that is the 3. And basically, I need to collect as many treasure markers as I can in a 4-turn game. So I need to collect as many treasure markers as I can, and the models exit through the closest table edge. And so hopefully I can collect all 3. And of course, I have to survive the 4 turns. I'm only playing 4 turns. This is something of a demo game. I'm just practicing the rules, and if need be, I will film the game in parts. So first turn, here's my warband's deployment. right down here, these 6 figures are my warband. In real, he is an illusionist. I have here an archer. He is an ice elf. My war dog, war puppy. There he is, and there's a little closer look. And then I have my, this is an infantry woman, and my apprentice, and my treasure hunter with her 2-handed weapon. So a couple of ladies here in my warband, and now we can start the game. Okay, and before I actually start my turn, in solo play, the different phases in a turn are organized differently than in the standard game where you play against an opponent. Here you have a wizard phase, you have creature phase 1, where a lot of your powerful creatures move first, and then you have an apprentice phase where you get to move your apprentice and cast any spells. Creature phase 2, any creatures that did not move in phase 1 get to move in phase 2, and you have a soldier phase where you move the rest of your soldiers. Then of course, if you have to roll for a spawning to see if any monsters spawn on this turn, and that's what this is. You roll for your spawn points, and that will spawn any new monsters on the table, and that's how each of the phases work in the solo game.